Hey, how we doing, guys, and welcome back to the second episode of my P-Week vlog. As you can see, the format is a little bit different than my last video, as I used my big camera, but this time I thought I'd use my webcam, as it's a little bit quicker, like uploading stuff, and just easier to just get everything done because I have, sorry, like a 10-minute limit on my big camera, and this one I can go forever until the battery runs out on my laptop. So yeah, so good. But anyway, let me get into the vlog. Now I've got my notepad with me here, and just so that I, don't miss any key points out. So as the title suggests, I'm tempted to actually carb load. Um, you know, over the weekend, like the previous weekend, I did run like a little test carb load, just to see how things would go, like running into the show. Unfortunately, that was not as successful as I hoped because there was a few personal issues going on, and that meant that like my meal timings were way off. I ended up missing like a few meals, and was actually struggling to get everything in, and I didn't want to just have like three meals at once, so which would pretty much lead to me getting bloated. That weren't like the type of plan which I had. And so although I did end up doing like a carb load, I just didn't get as much food in as I hoped to have gotten. But whichever way, I got into a bit of a surplus anyway, and you know I didn't have the desired look as I wanted to come the Monday. I think stress played its part as well, because, like I said, I had a few things going on. So yeah, didn't sleep so good, and yeah, it just didn't run so smoothly, to say the least. So yeah, with that over and done with, I went back to my usual diet on the Monday, and so I was in a calorie deficit. By the Tuesday, I was flat again, struggling to get a pump, and yeah, feeling quite depleted. Um, Today's Thursday, so this is like the fourth day of being in a deficit, and getting more and more depleted. Um, and it's just like a natural depletion. Obviously, if you've got a lot of glycogen in your muscles, or if basically if you've got glycogen, it's easy to use fuel source. So that's what the body's gonna pretty much use straight away, and that's when the whole depletion thing comes around. Now, um, I flatten out quite quickly, and I've noticed this like throughout the whole prep. I've noticed this in previous preps, but it was like this one in particular, where I've really stayed on top of things a lot more. In past preps, I've winged, like, I won't say I've winged it completely, but I was less calculated, and there was less structure, and I didn't take as many notes. But this time round, I'm like keeping an eye on pretty much everything. So yeah, I'm noticing like a lot more changes and a lot of different issues, or or things where I'm excelling in, and just things like that. Like basically, um, with me being a bit more what's the word? Oh gosh, what is the word? Like paying closer attention to detail, and you just pick up so much more, and it's going to be crucial for when I go into my off season, and it's going to be a very long off season, and but when I come back, I should have so much more knowledge and be in a much better position. But anyway, enough about the off season. We'll leave that for another time. Now, when I'm in prep, I watch a load of videos on YouTube of like the old school bodybuilders, or just past and present bodybuilders really. And I remember watching one on Jay Cutler in the 2000s. He's about 5 days out. I think he's at World's Gym, and he looks full as hell, but he goes, I'm flat right now. This and that, my muscles, just not pressing against the skin. And even though to me he looked quite full, he just looked. He's a big guy anyway. He was huge, back in his prime. So, but when you actually know a person's physique and you're paying close attention day in and day out, then you notice every little change, and that's the same with myself. So although like I've got good muscle bellies and that, and I can appear to be still quite full, I do know when I'm quite flat. Now there's various signs of flattening out, like things like struggling to get a pump, or flattening out or being flat. So like struggling to get a pump, or not being able to like maintain a pump, like looking stringy, looking a lot smaller. Like basically, if you've got no glycogen in your muscles, it's going to shrink. So yeah, and you will look a lot smaller. Sometimes you can look in less condition, in worse condition. Sorry, look soft. What else? What else do we got? Watery, and just things like that. There's like no pop to the physique, and basically, you can also hold like a lot of more like subcutaneous water, like so water sat outside the muscles and under the skin, so that also makes you look less conditioned and more watery. And this is all because the muscles are pressing into skin hard, like when they're full and pumped. So yeah, there's various different signs of like being flat or just flattening out. Now sorry, I don't even know where I'm going with this. We'll turn the page. So yeah, like I'm saying, by Tuesday, I put a pic on Instagram today, and that was from Tuesday, after Tuesday session, and you can see that I'm not as sharp as other days. The quality of the picture doesn't seem too great anyway, but even the fullness, it's not like there as like how it should be. So yeah, like I said, started flattening out from early. So my body was just depleting straight away, and like today I am depleted, very depleted. So one of the reasons why I didn't heavily deplete in the first place was because I can struggle to actually get full again, especially without spilling over. So before I get into that situation of just digging a big hole of and where I'm struggling to get out of come show day, and may have to do something quite erratic, I'm just going to start feeding myself from like tomorrow. I've tapered back some of the activity today, although I did train. I wasn't supposed to, but I trained a little bit. Basically, my new pre-workout came from HR Labs. It's defib, and tasted great. By the way, it was jelly bean flavour. So I've done some triceps, done some rear delts, and done some abs. Yeah, so it weren't the most intense session, but it's still output. And although that was there, I've tapered back on my cardio. So today it was literally just in the AM, very light cardio on the stationary bike for 30 minutes. I'll be tapering back my steps today, so I'll be doing like 10k. It will probably be 10k at a push, to be honest, which is tapered back from like 15-20k, which would vary depending on how much cardio I do as well. So yeah, I'll be tapering that back, and certainly increasing the foods tomorrow. Now, food-wise, part of me saying, just pumping them carbs, get them carbs in you. You're gonna be full. You're gonna just swell up, and that's also a bit of a problem. I don't want to be too swollen. I always come in too swollen. So, that's my head just craving for carbs, or is it my stomach craving for carbs? I don't know. But whichever way, that won't be happening. I will be pushing them back up to stay around the 400 gram mark, but what I'll be pushing more is the protein and fats. Now, the protein's going to go up to near enough 400 grams as well, and the fats will be up to like 150 grams. So yeah, quite an increase from what I'm currently having, or from what I usually have, but they're the macros which I think are going to be more beneficial. So we'll see how that goes, because even still, I think that's like only 4,500 calories. Now for me, 4.5k is not a whole heap of calories, and it shouldn't do like anything too crazy, but hopefully fill me out a little bit more. I will reassess how things are looking come Saturday, and whether or not I need to push the food a little bit harder, or just keep it where it is, or maybe even taper back a little bit, because like I said, come show day I don't want to be like spilling over. I'd just like to be at a good place, as in just under being like totally full. That's fine with me, as like I said, I'll just top up with some food on the day. It's going to be a long day, so I can just drip the food in. As I'm a heavyweight, I won't be until late in the day anyway, so there's a lot of opportunities to get meals in, so that won't be an issue. Because some people, if they're on early in the morning, say like if they're masters or a teen, then they'll have to really cram in some food if they are very flat in the morning. Now, actually, I'll speak about my client Patrick. I wasn't gonna mention it, just gonna go straight into training, but yeah, as I'm just like gradually like I say, just doing like a gradual carb depletion. You're gonna naturally deplete if you're in a deficit anyway. But with Patrick, he's doing the total opposite. He's hitting it hard. It's a very hard depletion for him. And this is a guy who's very happy all the time, but this week he is certainly feeling it. I'm pushing him hard. He can be pushed hard, so I thought it's the British finals. We're going to do every single thing we can. We're going to push him to his limit, and bring the best possible package on the day. And I must say, he's handling it well. He's a little bit more moany than usual. He says that I'm actually like starving him. I'm not feeding him, which I am feeding him, just not a whole heap of carbs. But yeah, he's handling it well. He's done all his cardio that he's needed to do. He's done the training which he's needed to do. We're going to do a little bit more tomorrow. Today was the first session of the like upper body. I don't call it circuit, but I do call it circuit because we just cannot train every upper body. But it's not really a circuit. But yeah, just upper body training is very light. Well, not very light, but higher reps. A little bit higher than usual. Not nothing crazy like which we're not used to. But yeah, just a little bit higher than usual, and that kind of like prevents you from getting too heavy on each exercise as well, which is good. And that's one thing which I had to remind him of this week, because he is a guy who does enjoy to really push the weight and keep improving each week, which he has done. But I told him, peak week is not a time for you to like start going for PBs, or just moving up the numbers at all, or even being at the max. You want to do what you need to do training wise, in terms of presenting the best look for stage day, and also to stay fit and healthy, because the last thing you need is to be like getting any niggles, injuries, strains, or creating too much inflammation which prevents you from bringing your best look like come show day. So he understands that, and by having me there anyway, I don't allow him to push too hard. And yeah, so that was today. Tomorrow we're going to start loading, but we're also doing another upper body day. Like I am a believer of when you're feeding someone, increasing the carbs and that, it is very good to actually do a bit of activity and get them carbs like into the muscles, create some demand for the carbs. And people say, oh yeah, but you're just going to burn them off. Well, you might burn some, but we'll just feed you more, and whichever way we're going to get you full. So it just comes down to energy balance. So if you're burning more, we'll just feed you more. Simple as that. Some people, they do like to just rest, do nothing, and just eat all the carbs, and it actually works really well for them. That's fine, but I like to do it this way, and we've had some test runs. You know, pretty much the whole of prep is a big test run for like peak week and show day. You know, with all the refeeds and the lower days of calories, and then and then refeeding and that. You know, so when you've been prepping someone for a reasonable amount of time, you should have a good idea come peak week of what they need to do. And so this time around, we've not like gone crazy off plan, and we've kept all the foods the same, kept the supplements the same, and training, you know, has been the same up until Wednesday. Obviously, holding back on a few reps, you know, leaving a few in reserve, and monitoring the weight used. But in terms of the training split, that's been the same. We've done the last leg day on Saturday, and so we're playing it smart, but keeping as many variables just normal, because if things are going really well, there's no need to just suddenly start just doing crazy shit for the sake of it, just for the sake of it's peak week. You know, it doesn't really mean anything to that. You know, if you're in a good position, you know, just stay the course and continue to do what you're normally doing. Now, I'm not saying that there's no such thing as like peak week, or you know, things can't make a difference, because they absolutely can. You know, if you're looking a little bit off but you're in condition, you know, changing a few variables, maybe adjusting the training, increasing the rest, recovery, whatever, increasing the food, or doing whatever, you know, manipulating whatever variables you need to, can create a much better outcome show day. But what it can't do is do miracles. So if you're not in shape this week, early in this week, you're not going to be in shape on show day. You may look better, but you know, you're not just going to suddenly lose like an extra 5% of body fat. It's just unrealistic. But you know, listen to your coach and just follow their plan, and you know, I wish you all the best of luck. Now, coming back to me and my supplements. I actually spoke to AJ Morris, was it? I think it was last week, because you know, I am subscribed to his YouTube channel. I'm subscribed to his YouTube channel, but also his members site. You know, I am a fan of his. I do respect him. I may not agree with every single thing he says, but you know, I'm the type of person who does like to listen to different opinions, and you know, because there's always something which you can take away from a conversation. So like I said, spoke to him, and basically come peak week, I always get a little bit stressed, a little bit crazy, and do some wild things, as some of you may know. Now, but this time around, I thought, you know what, I'm going to keep in things like ashwagandha and my CBD oil, because I want to reduce like stress, keep the cortisol low, and just like ran it by him as such, and you know, he agreed. He was like, yeah, you know, definitely keep it in. So things like that, hopefully that will help keep the stress levels low, help me from like preventing from holding any unwanted water, fluid, you know, and then just keep me nice and level-headed. Let me get some good night's sleep, and recover enough for show day, because I'll be honest, at the moment my legs are toast. Even though I train legs on Sunday, it's Thursday, they're hurting so bad because I've been doing a lot of walking, a lot on the bike, and they've been under a lot of stress. So, you know, it's just all about recovery right now. Supplement wise, I'm staying on my creatine, but that's in my pre-workout anyway. I'm not sure if it's in defib, in fact. I have to double check, but if it's not, then I'll just add some extra creatine anyway. But yeah, and just got to keep everything the same: creatine, the protein, what else do I take? All my multivits and that. You know, anything that I'm having doesn't need to change, because it's created this look which I've got now, which I'm happy with. So there's no need to take all that away. because I don't know what that will do in terms of how, in terms of my appearance and that, and it may actually just create more issues, more problems. So keeping the food the same, keeping the supplements the same, keeping the training pretty much the same, just a few more reps in reserve, just due to the fact of not wanting to get any injuries, and also don't want to create too much inflammation, because I want all the striations showing on show day. Now that's enough of me talking into the camera anyway, but I'm gonna run my chest day video, which was from yesterday. I trained with my friend Sean. I said I was going to put on the clip yesterday, but I just didn't have time to like edit it and put it together now. But this time I'm going to put that on the back end of here and actually do a bit of a voiceover. So hope you enjoy, and yeah, thanks for watching. Alright guys, so here I am at Flex and Tone, training chest. It was actually a push session, but I've only got the footage from the chest part. So yeah, I'm training chest with my good friend Sean, aka the Beef, and yeah, we started off on the hammer strength bench press thing, whatever you call it, ISO press, I'm not sure, but yeah, that machine right there. Now we've done a few warm-up sets like on one plate, and then we got some working sets. But as I said earlier in this vlog, that I am not pushing to complete failure. So although the weight is quite heavy, you know, I still can handle a bit more, and I left a few reps in reserve, especially on that set anyway. Now Sean, he is not prepping for a competition, so he can go out to like complete failure, and there's no issues with that. So yeah, he was pushing hard. I was pushing as hard as I could, but still kept it reasonable. And yeah, this machine, I actually enjoy it. It feels pretty comfortable. We worked up to 4 plates, and as you can see, give me a little bit of a lift off to begin with, because I don't really want to be pressing from the bottom position. I know quite a few people have some issues at the bottom, like getting the actual movement started, and so there's always plates underneath the feet of each handle. I didn't put them there on purpose, but this is where people seem to just leave them, mainly because the handles actually start from a really low position. Now from there we moved on to the incline press machine. We worked up to some decent weight. There's no, I don't think there's any numbers on it, but it takes forever to set up this bench. It was actually in the flat bench position, as it's an adjustable machine. So when we finally got everything into the right position, we moved on to this, and yeah, it was working from like between 15 reps. I think it got down to about maybe 8 reps, and again, it felt smooth. I do like this machine, although it does feel like a quite wide press. Even when you hold it in its closest position, it's still quite wide, as you can see, like where my arms are. But it felt good, and yeah, today it was just about working the muscles. No particular like depletion workout, but just doing what I can within reason, not going crazy heavy, and not pushing to complete failure. Now from this machine, we actually moved on to the hammer strength decline press. Now we've done about 2 or 3 sets of this, and then we both kind of looked at each other and said, nah, we're not a fan. We're not a fan. You know, it didn't feel right. I was struggling to get a good contraction in the chest. Felt a lot in the triceps. We did adjust the seat and such, but yeah, that machine just went for me, or went for my friend Sean, either. But like I said, we've done a few sets, and just moved on from there. Now this next movement is probably one of my favourites, the incline dumbbell fly. We got to, I think, 75-pound dumbbells, so I think that's about 34 kg roughly, and give or take. These aren't them, these are something a little bit lighter, But yeah, just feeling the stretch and really trying to contract the chest on the way up. Now, even though we went to 75, for me it's not super heavy. It's enough to feel the weight, but you know, I don't feel like I'm actually pushing too hard. And we kept the reps quite high, and then we actually done a drop set down to, was on the 40, went down to the 40-pound dumbbells, and got about 20 reps on that. So yeah, really working the chest, getting some blood in there, and it felt good. Nice stretch, but you know, like I was saying before, I'm quite depleted, so actually maintaining a pump was absolutely solid. Before we did this session, we went through a little bit of posing because we wanted to see like how my physique looked before I trained, and then how my physique looked after I trained. So yeah, the posing beforehand, you know, I did not look that great, in all honesty. Very flat, and there's some detail there, but you know, there's no real like pop to my muscles. You know, not like when I've trained and I've like had a load of food. Now, from there we moved on to some cable flies, and yeah, this is a movement like where I always feel it in my chest. You know, it's a great movement, and I probably do it every week if I can, but usually seated. But in this gym, there's no particular like seated chest fly machine, so cable machine. Flipping, I can't even get my words out. So we've done them standing, and these are the smoothest cables in there. It felt decent, but again, I was really working to work that chest, get some type of pump, some blood in there, and it just was not happening. Wasn't happening at all. As you can see, I adjust the tempo and really trying to focus on the contraction. I've done a number of reps, and yeah, it just wasn't there.